Hello, I'm Regina. So I'm going to show you tonight how to make a bracelet, or a bracelet set, I should say. So here is one of the bracelet sets that I have made in the past. It is a 6-strand bracelet set, and I've put on here the blue quartz. You can add charms to your bracelets or just make them strictly with beads. It's all up to you. I normally make my bracelet sets a 3 or a 6 strand. It just depends on one, if I'm freeforming and I'm just making a bunch of them, right? And or what my clients would like to have. So in order to make your bracelets, you need to have your stretch cord. You can get this at Michael's, TJ Maxx, or not TJ Maxx, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or Joann's, right? You might even be able to find it at Walmart too. Not sure, but I purchased mine from Michael's. It normally comes in a 3, 4, 6-pack. I think for a 6-pack of it, or a 4-pack or something like that, you get it for $9.99, and it lasts a good while too. So you can make plenty of bracelets out of it. Then I also have another stretch cord that I use, that I like to use that when I'm working with say embellishment, like jewels that have the 2 end prongs, right? So that I can string it through, similar to this. Like this has 2 end prongs, one on that side, one on that side, right? So I will use a stretch type cord for this type of bracelet, right? And that allows you to string your beads through that as well. You'll need to have your tools so that you can cut, pick up, do what you need to do with cutting your string, like your cord, or tying off the bracelet, that kind of thing with cutting as well. You need to make sure that you have your glue. So this is the glue that I use. It is the GS Hypo. I purchased this glue from Michael's, and it comes in a different box now than what it used to. But this is the box that I purchased it, in before. Now I think it might be a red and white box. I think they started changing some of them, but this is the glue that I use. And this was the stretch cord. This is the other stretch cord that I use. This is more like rubber bandish. And I use these for the ones that have the double prong, like this. Okay, it has a double prong on both sides. That's the kind of cord that I use for that. Then you'll also need to have your beads. And I've already opened these beads and stretched them out on my bead mat, but I will be showing you this in just a second. But this is one of the strands that I will be using. It's kind of like a denim blue. So I'm going to make one strand with this kind. I also have a soft blue color that I'm going to use and make another strand with. That's going to go with it. It's like a soft blue. And then I have the smaller version to the denim blue that I will be using. Okay, and these are smaller. Now, you get these beads on a strand. If you order online, you can purchase these beads for $5 or $7 a strand. I don't like to purchase beads higher than that amount, right? If you go to a bead store within your town, look for the strands where they sell them for $5 a strand, $3 a strand, $7. Sometimes they do get pricey, and they like to sell some for, upwards of $12, $15, $17. I've even seen some strands for $30. I don't purchase those. I purchase strands that are $7 or less, okay? And then you'll want to be able to purchase, some additional beads as well for some of your embellishments, right? To give it some pizzazz to it. So as an example, here are some beads that you can order off of Amazon. You might find some of these also in your bead stores, but I ordered these off of Amazon. They come in a jar full. I've been using these different colors, and you can use these to intertwine, right? To give your beads some oomph to it. And we'll be using one with this set today. There are just different kinds that you can use. So before we get started, I will show you. I use these trays. I purchased these trays from Michael's. They have a lot of compartments to them. I get the one that has the most compartments to it, right? They come in different sizes, but this is how you can store your beads. So I have beads of all colors. I have one container for every kind of color that I have. So I store all blues together, all greens, all yellows, you know, reds, things like that, because you have different shades of each color blue, right? Or each color. So different shades of blue, different shades of green, reds, whatever. And so I like to put them in their separate compartments based upon the color that they are, based upon that color scheme. I also use these containers to house all of my fixings and my rings that you use to attach your charms to. So like this case here is the charm attacher case. So all of these are different kind of holders at the end of the bracelet that you'll close it off with and that you'll hang your charms from, right? So I have these in silver. I also have these in gold, and I have a couple in black. And I like to use these colors based upon the color scheme that I'm using within my bracelets, as well as the charms, right? So if I have gold charms, I want to use gold fixings to close it off with, and vice versa, right? If it's silver or black. So again, get you some of these containers. So as you start to build your stash of jewelry or your beads, you have some kind of way to stash them. And later I'll show a video of how I really have all my stuff arranged when it comes down to these beads and how I store them. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to attach the camera behind me so that you can be over my shoulder and see how I actually formulate my beads and to make the bracelets. Okay, so we'll be back in just a second. Okay, so hopefully you can see this pretty well and you might be able to zoom within your system. But so what I'm going to do is I've showed you the 3 strands or the different colors that I'm going to use for my bracelets. Now this is a bead tray. You can purchase this tray at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I think even Joanne might sell them. You don't have to purchase a tray, but the tray helps me keep my beads stabilized, right? So as I'm trying to build my bracelets, as you can see, my tray is busy because as I've done different kind of bracelets, I've not put away the various beads that I've used. So don't get like me and have a tray full of beads. You know, I do like to try and keep this as neat as possible. But again, you can pick up one of these, or when you're building your bead, or excuse me, your bracelets, you can just get a nice fluffy towel and, you know, fold that up to where it's kind of thick, and then make your little grooves on the towel, and then put your strands of beads in between. And the thing is, the key is to not have the beads roll away, right? So however you can keep them stabilized, that's what you want to use. So to get started, you're going to go ahead and take your string first, right? And what I do is I take the string and I wrap it around my wrist. You can measure it out. So you may want to cut a decent amount, right? If it's going to be, if you have a smaller wrist for someone you're making it for, you may want to truly measure it out. And there are measurements on this too as well, or just use a ruler and measure out the string. I try to make my bracelets at least 8 inches around. Of course, if the wrist is smaller, then I make it a little smaller, but I like for it to be able to hang a little bit where I can stick my finger through the bottom so it's not so tight on the wrist, right? So all I end up doing, again, I take the string here. I just lay it across my wrist and kind of gather it at the bottom just to see how long it's going to hang. And you can kind of see this is a lot, right? So I'll just pull it up a little bit more. Normally I'll cut it at like 10 inches. Your bracelets normally will be 12 inches, right? But you want to make sure you have enough room on the bracelet so that you can cut it off and tie it, okay? So I've cut three strips already for those that I'm actually going to make this bracelet set for. And I think I might have cut them at 12 inches, right? So I will be cutting off some of the excess, but I'd rather have more than enough so as I'm formulating these bracelets, I can actually grip better to actually, you know, tie it off and everything. So we're going to go ahead and get one of the strands, and this is one of the strands here, okay? So what I've gone ahead and started doing is, first thing first, I will lay the beads out that I'm going to work with, right? So I have this 3 strands, so I've laid out my 3 beads, the different colors, different sizes. Then I start to work and add in my embellishments. So I'll start off and I'll maybe put like 20 beads on a row, right? I'll find the middle point and put my center bead of what I want to be in the middle of my bracelet first. I'll lay that out. Then I start adding different little embellishments in throughout. So I may say, okay, so this is my center. I've added 2 little bling little side bracelets. You can get these also Michael's. That's where I purchased them from. And just to be able to show you a little bit better, it's just a little flat, kind of flat bead, right? It has the hole in the middle, but on the outside, it has a little bit of bling to it. So it kind of looks like diamonds. And you get them in I'm trying to think if they came in a pack or a roll, like a string roll. But anyways, you get them over at Michael's. So I get, you know, various sizes. I also get the ones that are silver, just silver bling, all the way around. These come in 2 different sizes, one this size and then one a bit fatter, right? So these kind of things just help make your bracelets pop a little bit more. Like this is a bigger one. Like this one is bigger with the bling to it. Okay, so you just want to make sure that you have extra kind of beads so that you can accentuate your bracelets. So I'll start by putting my center point bead there, which I'm now going to switch it up and make it silver. And then I've just added some of those little embellishments after it, right, on each side. Everything you do on one side, you're going to do to the other side. Then I've taken my light blue beads. I've put 2 out here. And then I put a divider in the middle, right, between my next set of beads. And so that's one of my embellishments that I've put out. Then I've added 3 more beads, put an embellishment at 4 beads. I do this exact same thing on the other side. Then when it came down to this particular bead or bracelet strand, I'm using one of the tubes. You can purchase these tubes. It looks like a little bent stick, and it has holes on either side. You can purchase these over at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's as well, or any bead store sells them. You can get them for a better price at Hobby Lobby. Okay, that's where I normally buy those from. If you go to a bead store, they sell them per, right? And you could purchase one. They might try and charge you $5 just for one. And you can get a whole pack. The pack may have 6 to 10 in them. And you can get the pack for about $5. So shop around, you know, as you're trying to get your different embellishments for these bracelets. Look around first before you start to purchase, because you don't want to waste money, right? And then, so what I'm going to do is, this is going to be my center point of the bracelet, and that will just go atop of the wrist. And then, so working with the same bling little flats, I've added one on each end. And then I'm working to intertwine some silver into this too, right? So it kind of pops and stands out a little bit. So I have my silver bead next to that. Then another embellishment that's a little bling, followed by the remaining of the blue on both sides. Okay. And I'm just trying to think, do I want to add a little bit more of the bling inside or any kind of tube type embellishments? I can use this and put it in. So just whatever comes to mind. I may want to even just space it out and put in between, after the 3rd bead, before the 4th one, put another silver bead in there, which that makes it look nice as well. So I'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay. Then for my 3rd bracelet, the center point, I'm using one of these balls in blue. Okay. And again, you can get these off of Amazon or any bead store, but I purchased off of Amazon for a much better price. So I put the blue one in the center. I put my little diamond-like embellishments on the outer portion of the little blue center ball. I now have laid out my beads. I've gone 4 and then put another embellishment in it. And then I've laid out 7 more. Okay, now those are smaller beads, so you'll use more of them than the larger beads, right? You'll use anywhere between about 17 to 24 beads on one bracelet, depending upon the size you make and however many embellishments you put in there, right? The more embellishments you use, the less beads you'll use. So again, I've outlined all of my beads on each row, and I've put in a little bit of an embellishment there in between just to give it some oomph to it. I've also laid out my 3 closures, right? So to hold my charms, you can purchase these. Also, I purchased all of these online. And what these does, it has a little connector on the end. Oops, sorry. That has the hoop there that you will put your charm through. So you can use these, or you can just put your charm on the strand. You don't have to purchase those. I purchased them because I like for the charms to hang, right? To hang off away from the actual bracelet. But again, you don't have to use that. You can, all charms have a hole through it. You can put the charm right through the string and do it that way as well. So I will tell you, maybe start off with doing it through the string with the charm first, just to make sure that this is something that you truly want to do. And then if so, then start gradually buying additional things to hold your charms on, or to use. So I do have 3 charms. I've already put on 1 charm holder on one. Normally I wait and put this on at the very end. I put all the charms on at the very end. But for this one, if you were on the Zoom earlier tonight, I started doing the bracelets, and then just was having some difficulty with, I didn't cut enough string, the length that I needed. Just a whole bunch of stuff was happening. The Zoom was freezing up. So I said, let me just start this all over to show you from the beginning to end on how I actually do this. So if I'm doing a 3-strand bracelet, I normally put on 2 charms. If I do a 6-strand bracelet, I will normally put on 4 charms. Okay. But you can put on as many charms as you want. You can put 1 on each strand. This is a personal bracelet for myself, so I am going to actually put on 1 for each strand. So I have something about a strong woman, something about what is this one? Never giving up. And then this one is actually of a Black woman, right, with a little crown on. So this is what I'm going to use. Now, I did get my charms off of Etsy. So when I'm searching for charms, I go out there, and whatever the genre of the bracelet I'm trying to make, that's what I search for. So if it's something inspirational, I'll just put in a search for inspirational charms, right? You can be very, very specific, and you can say inspirational bracelet charms. Then it'll bring back various charms, and you can go through them and see if that's what you like. I try to purchase in bulk when I do purchase charms, because the shipping can be very expensive. So if you purchase 1 charm for someone, you may pay $2 for the charm, but the shipping might be $5, $6, right? So if that's going to cost me $6 to ship, I need to have more charms in that bag. So I normally purchase anywhere from 3 to 5 to 10, right, charms when I try to purchase from one seller, because I want to make sure I'm getting the most for what I'm being charged for to ship. Ordering off of Etsy, the charms and things like that come really quick. Within a week or so, I normally have them. So you just have to go out there and just search, play around with the topics to find the kind of charms you want. If you want something religious, it's a certain Bible quote, you can actually type, the passage, right? John 3:16 charm, and see what it pulls back for you. Bible charm, whatever. So whatever genre you're looking for, just put that in the search bar. Behind it, state charm, and it'll bring back those charms that are related to that particular topic. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to take my stretch cord, my piece of stretch cord that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and start lining this up. So earlier, if you're on with me, I did explain that, my eyesight is just not as best as it used to be. You're getting a little older, and sometimes it's kind of hard to see the little holes here. So sometimes it takes me a little longer now to bead this. But normally I can have a full complete set made within 30 minutes, like 20 minutes to 30 minutes it will take to have a complete set. And that's finding the bead color that I want, laying it out, kind of, designing it, stringing it, closing it out. So now it just takes me a little longer because as I have aged just a bit, like I said, my eyesight, sometimes it's just kind of hard to see the holes. So on the call that we had earlier tonight, one of the ladies did mention that, you can buy this light that gives you more light, and it also has a magnifying glass on it too. And she got hers at Harbor Freight. So I am going to check out Harbor Freight and see if I can get one, because I definitely need it. I need something to magnify this stuff for me, because it's just becoming a little bit more difficult, right? So I'm just going through now and just stringing the bracelet through the hole, and hopefully y'all can see it, and just ensuring that I have enough string left on the other side of the bracelet, right? Because I don't want it to fall off, because as you saw earlier too, I went to tie it off. It wasn't enough. My hands were slippery and it just fell apart. So I'm just going through doing this, and I will tell you, if you're just starting out with making bracelets, don't go all out for this at the beginning. Start off small. I purchase a lot of stuff, and I don't know how to purchase small. Okay. I think big and I purchase big, meaning I like to buy things in threes. So if I only need one color, I'm going to get 3 strands, or I might get 3 different colors, knowing that I only need one color, right? Next thing you know, you have a bucket full of beads and you're not really doing anything with it. And so they're just sitting. And, right now I have a lot of beads. I really do. And I'll do a session or a video, a different video showing one, how I store everything, but also showing how much I have. Like it's ridiculous. So I'll just tell you, start off small. The beads ain't going nowhere. The stores will always have the beads. Start off small until you realize this is something that I want to do. And then buy more. It is a good stress release, I will tell you, because it makes you sit and concentrate. So then you forget about whatever ailment you have and or whatever you were upset earlier about, because you're just concentrating on this. Before you know it, you're fine, right? So it's something neat to do. And take your time with it. You don't have to rush. Like I haven't done bracelets in a while, right? Because I've been doing some of everything else. Sublimation, sewing. I've picked up sewing, so I've been having a ball with that. And So now, you know, getting back into this and having to hold my fingers a certain way, position the string, I can feel the tension in my fingers now because I haven't done this in so long that I'm stressing my hand already. So, like I say, just pace yourself with this stuff. All right, so for my center point, I have 2, a fixer, 3, and then 5. Okay. Now, my other side, I need to make sure that I have the same amount of beads. I want everything to match, right? When it comes down to the size, because if I have too many on here, then I want to be able to pull one off from one end and then do the same from the other end. So right now, I just want to make sure that I am in sync with the right amount on each side. So I have 2, 3, 5. This is to the right. Here I have 2, 3, 3. So I need to add 2 more beads on. And what I do, I like to make sure I put more on than probably what's needed, because then I go back and I remove, right? When I try to put this up against my wrist to see if the size is right. So as you're beading, to make sure you're not pulling more string from the other side, so you don't have to keep rebeading on the other end, right? So, all right, so I got this one beaded, and what I'm going to do now is pick it up. So this is the full strand. I'll put it together like so. Put it on my wrist. Then I'm going to see how much it is hanging more on the bottom. So as you can see, it's a pretty big gap on the bottom of my wrist, right? So when I gauge it just by looking at it, I'm going to say I'm going to take out 2 strands or 2 beads from each side is what I'm going to end up taking off. Okay, so I just removed 4 beads total, 2 from one side, 2 from the other. Put it back up against my wrist. See how I think it's going to look when I try and close it. Okay, so it's just really fitting on my wrist, right? So what I probably should have only done was take 1 off of each side. So I'm just going to add 1 back to each side. Put the closer on, meaning what closes the bracelet with, that's going to house the charm. I'm going to slide that on. Tie it up. When I tie these, I like to tie them in a knot at least 3 times. And then at the very end, I normally go and glue my bracelets all at one time. Okay. So here it is again. You can put it back up against you. And I see that I do have a little bit of give underneath my wrist. Okay. So I'm satisfied with this size. So now I want to make this good and tight. So all I'm going to do is tie it in a knot 3 times. Okay. So that was 1. This is going to be 2. And 3. And as I tie them in a knot, I kind of pull it like this to make sure that it's getting down to the actual knot. And while I've done this, I forgot to put on my closer for the charm. So this one, I just won't put a charm on. Okay. So I just have to make sure when I do glue this, that the little knot really stays hidden between the 2 beads. Normally, that's why I like to make sure that I have either a charm holder or a flat, meaning there is no charm that's going to go on it. So it's just a round tube that I can put on it so that I can hide the string at the end. Okay. So here is the first bracelet. So as you can see, it has a little bit of silver in it and some bling to it. I like to have shine on my bracelets. And I am a person that I kind of love bling too, right? So anything that kind of glitters, stands out, that's what I love. So what we're going to go ahead and do, is work on the second strand. So my pre-cut string, here it is. I am going to first string the center bar on, and then I'll build from one side and the other. Normally, like I say, I normally, do my bracelets building from the end in, right? But for this side, for this one, since I have a bar, I want to do it by side. So I'm going to go ahead and string this on. Now, normally too, when you have, if you're using a bar or some other kind of long piece that's going to go across the wrist, you don't have to use that many beads because this takes up some of the place of the beads, right? So I'll probably string halfway on each side and see just how that is, and not put all of those beads on. So as I'm in here beading a lot, because I'm in here by myself in the evenings, most evenings, and I put my music on and just go. And before you know it, you can have knocked out a couple sets, right? Because it's just nothing to it. Once you actually outline your design, then start to bead, right? Putting it in the holes and stuff. So it's not hard at all. I will say the most tedious part is knowing the color scheme that you want to use and trying to design. That might take the most time when you're first starting out. But beading it, if your eyes are good, you can see the hole, then it takes no time to do this at all. Okay, so make sure if you do this at night, you have really, really good lighting. During the day, it might be a little easier for you because it's pretty light, but just make sure you can truly see what you're doing and have fun with it. And as I said that I wasn't going to bead all of it on one end, I just did that. So I'm not paying attention to anything that I've said that I was going to do or what I should be doing. Okay, so we've gotten one side completely done. Okay, so I am now going to bead the other side. And I guarantee you, I will not need all of these beads because by the time that I add them to the other side, that will make for a very, very large bracelet. So I think what I'll do is, like I said before, bead half of these and take the other half off on that other end. And then size it up against my wrist and see if this is the one that I want for the size and close it up. And this time I will make sure that I put the charm on. So this is something that too, if you have kids, they're little busybodies. you wanna give them something to do to kind of make them sit still for a minute. Let them design bracelets. I think they'll love it. It's something unique, let them be very creative. But like I say, normally I can do this pretty quickly, but my eyes have just been playing tricks on me as of late, and trying to see the holes and everything, even though I have prescription glasses on, it's still a challenge. It's called getting older, aging. But at least, you can laugh at yourself, right? I laugh at myself all of the time. It's just a part of life, getting older. So I'm just going to probably put one more braid on, or not braid, one more bead on this end. Then I'm going to take off probably 3 off of the other side, size it up against my wrist, and close it up. Again, I've added that bar, so I shouldn't have to use that many braids. Or I don't know why I keep wanting to say braids tonight. Beads. It's crazy. All right, so I'm just going to put this up on my hand, on my wrist, and see. And, you know, tightening it up. There is still a little gap, so it won't be so tight on me. I could add another one if I wanted to, another bead or so if I wanted to, just for that extra little security. And actually, I think I am missing a bead on this side. So I'm just going to add, because I have two after the silver and I only have one after the silver on this side. I'll add one more and put the charm on, and I'm closing this up. Okay, so I've just added that one extra on. Here's my strand. I'm going to use the one that I've also already put the charm holder on, so I can close this up. Now, normally, like I said, I normally don't put my charms on until the very end of all bracelets. So I do close the bracelet up with a charm holder, but I don't go and put the charms on to the very end. And then I glue all at one time as well. You know, I try and have my little pattern or my little steps down of how I do it constantly. But tonight, for whatever reason, my brain is leading me in a different direction. So I've done 3 knots. Okay, so now we have the second bracelet with the charm on it. If you put it on your wrist just to test, I still have a gap underneath where I can slide a finger. So that's what I like to make sure I can at least slide a finger through, right? So that's how I like for my bracelets to hang, and when I'm making it for someone too, so it's not super tight. Unless they tell me they want it fitting to their wrist, then I make it tight so that there's no hang there. But otherwise, that's how I do it. I'm going to set that one aside. And then let's get our last strand here. That seems like one of the shorter ones I cut earlier. This should be the longer. Yeah, that's the longer strand. Okay, so now this one is these have smaller beads. These beads are probably a size 6 mm. The regular ones, these are either an 8 mm or 10 mm. Some bead sites, when I've ordered a 10 mm, they've ended up being this size. Some, when I've ordered an 8, they've ended up being this size. It just depends on where I purchased from. Sometimes the beads are a little larger, right? So because these are so small, I'm going to probably try and put all of these on the strand. Because they will need to have more to fill it up, right, before you close it. So this part here will just take a couple of minutes to, you know, get this one fully strung. And to not have to make you watch me string this full one, what I'll do is pause this video and then I'll come back and show you once I have it fully strung, okay? And then we'll end up putting the charm on this one together, so I can show you how to put the charm on, how to close it up, you know, by finishing it out. So give me just a couple of minutes to get this one strung, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I have this one strung also. So I have all the small ones onto the string. So what I'm going to do is put the charm holder on the end here. Okay, so I have my charm holder on, and this is the other side, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie this up. Again, I need 3 knots is what I like to have. You can put as many as you like. I do 3, and that, for me, that makes it feel or seem secured, okay? So I have it on. I've tried it on too to make sure that it was right, you know, before tying it off. So it is all balanced here. Now, the charm that I'm going to put on this one. So the first one talks about strong woman, Okay. I think just to keep it all the silver theme, instead of putting this one on, I'll probably put this on a black, use some black beads or something, and then put her on that one. So I'm just going to hold that off until the next time. But I am going to put this one on that talks about, never giving up, right? So just to keep it in the silver line. So what you will do, you will take two of your jewelry tools. So I use the one that has the pointed end and the flat end. Okay. I'll pick up one of my jump rings. So I keep all of my jump rings in here. So I have the smaller size and the larger size in silver. I have gold ones here and black ones there. So I'm going to hold it to where I can pull this apart. So the opening is at the top here. So I hold it with one part of the pliers, and the other side I clamp onto it, and I just twist different side. I twist like this, okay, to open it. Once I open it, I just slide the opening through the charm holder on the end. And then I take my charm with the hole, and I just slide that in. If I can see it. See, that's what I'm talking about. My eyes. My eyes are bad. Okay. I think that's it. Let me just make this a little wider so I can really see it and get it in there. That's a shame. As I'm getting older, this eyesight is just horrible. Okay, so I got the charm in. So I'm going to go ahead and close this back up. And you want to make sure that it's flush when you're closing this back up, right? Flushed against the other side. And it seems like something is sticky in this one because it's kind of hard to close, open and close with. Okay. And looking. And then I do a feel test too to make sure it's kind of lining up right. Then I take the one that has the flat side, like the alligator, and I go sideways on it and then smush it to where it closes better together. There has been times where I would add some glue on the edge too, just to make sure that it truly is closed in. So here are the 3 bracelets. Okay. So now I need to secure them. I'm going to take my glue, open it up. You'll have this prong needle. So if you have a little bit of stuck glue in there, just keep sticking it to get it pushed through so that your glue will come out the top. Now, every time you use this and close this up, get in the habit of wiping off your top tip here, because it will become like, the rubber cement type. But you can also, when you open it again, you can just peel it off because it'll be hard enough. Okay, so I'm taking where I have my knot. So I'm just pulling this up some, right? So I can get to my knot. So all I do is pull this up, hold it between my fingers so I can get to the knot where I tied my knot. And I'm putting glue on all sides of it, front and back and the side. Okay. Just to kind of show you a little bit, you should be able to see a little bit of where I have the glue. Okay. Because I have a charm on this one, when I release this, I'm actually putting the knot in between where that charm holder is. That's where it's going to reside. Okay. So I'll just do this for now, and we'll come back and cut the strings. But that's why I like to use charm holders too, because it can hide your knot once you finish tying it off and gluing it. You don't want that visibly seen. Now on that light blue one, because I messed up and didn't put a closer on or a charm holder, it might be a little visible when I go to glue it off and make sure that it's really secure. But that one I'm just going to keep for me. That bracelet set is for me. So, but if it was for a client, I would have took it apart and redid it and put that charm holder or a closer on it so that it would not be visible with the glue. Because I don't want the tails, right? When I cut this, I just don't want that knot to be seen. You know, so the charm holder hides all of that. So again, just gluing the front and the back, you know, around it. Because there is no holder on it, the glue is going to try to stick to the two beads in there between. When I go to pull it apart, once it dries, it'll be okay. All right, so I'm just gonna get a little piece of paper here. I don't have any tissue up here. Just to clean my nozzle off. And then I want to close it kind of quickly. And again, here we go playing with this, trying to get this needle in my eyes, right? So it's kind of trial and error of finding the hole so that I can stick this back through. So just make sure y'all do put your lids back on, your tops on this, okay? So now that I have glued everything, you can either wait and let everything dry before you cut your ends, or you can go ahead and cut and then let it continue the drying process. So again, if you cut before it's fully dried and or dried, what I do is I just pull it up again, right? So that the knot is visible, is up here. And I'm going to actually clip right above the knot, not right at the knot, but a little bit give, right? Because I want to make sure that it does not come undone. So I will let this dry overnight. I'm just going to stick it back in between the charm holder. And then tomorrow, if I was to ship this out to someone, I would come back once it's fully dried and I will just do a little bit more clipping of the tail right where I cut it, so that it's not so much still standing up. Okay, so that's what I will actually do on tomorrow. And the reason I'm not doing it tonight is because I want to make sure there's enough give there so it can fully dry without popping off. Okay, so it's kind of like you're doing an inspection before you ship something out. You're just making sure it's all good. So again, just pull it up, clip way above the knot, and then we can always come back and clip more of it, okay? So as you can see, I still have my knot, and you can see on both sides the extra from where I clipped. So tomorrow, I would come in and clip a little bit more of that off because this will be very hard and dried, okay? So here again, you have your 3-set bracelet that is ready to be worn. You want to let it really fully dry, but just to show you, I'll put this on. So this is the bracelet set. And then my charms are hanging. I just have this bracelet on backwards. So you want to make sure, you know, your charms are always facing out. So if you put your arm up like that, you can read your charms. Okay? So hopefully this video was informative for you. I'll take some pictures of the bracelet so you can fully see it, see the charms. And again, I'll take a picture to show you how I store everything when it comes down to my beads, all that kind of stuff, so you can have the visual too when you're actually making them and buying them. Just don't overbuy. So I thank you all for reviewing the video. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I'm more than willing to help you. If you decide to make some bracelets, post them in the group. Let us see your work. Okay? So I will go ahead and bid you all a good night. So thank you again for tuning in. Bye-bye. And here is the finished product. You can see the little bling of the blue ball in there. You can see the little diamond accents on the soft blue. So if the light hits it just right, it will bling the right way.